Welcome back to See the Stories on 3 Hour News Show. And we're still talking about the book launch of The Colors of Mothers that consists of 22 beautiful, beautiful stories. So, Titik and Riani, do you have any memorable stories for moments when creating this book?
I think for me, one of the things that I will never forget was the time that Uni and one of our other contributors who visited me in Portugal, and I showed them the version of their story. And the reaction that they had was something that I will never forget in my life.
How is it?
They both in tears, and they felt that, I don't know how you did it, but somehow you can speak the language that I wanted to say, and you have found just the right way and the right intonation and just find the right words to translate what I had in mind.
And what they went through.
And the way you depict the story is like full of colors. Like I can imagine I'm in the situation.
And
that's your
thing,
right?
It's a movie worthy.
Yeah, right.
Imagine when it's in a movie or
I mean, perhaps you're gonna have a little project soon coming up.
Yeah.
Movie I will be watching. More like a series.
It is.
Yes,
It's a
yes.
22 story.
Her story is very movie worthy.
Yeah.
Her
story in
mother
particular.
holding banana tree, banana leaves as the umbrella.
We talk about it, and we talk about things that, for example, it happened and it was normal for me. So in my story, I shared one of the fragments about my mother was, so I had to go to school walking 7 kilometers each trip. So it was 14 kilometers. And coming from a very poor background, my mother couldn't afford a lot of things. But I remember the several things that she did best that I will never forget until forever was just her dedication and her unwavering love and support. That whenever I came home and it was raining, then she would wait for me on the street with a banana leaf as an umbrella.
Oh,
And you might think that did it really happen? You know, so kids nowadays, maybe sometimes they cannot relate with things that happened in the past because who would have thought that just never happened? But
while us maybe we experience it and we can never take it for granted.
Yeah, exactly. So to me, that was just, it's a good way to also get the kids these days to kind of take a step
back
and realize that you are actually in a pretty privileged
much better state,
right?
I agree.
So I was just wondering, with all of these stories combined and your own stories being involved in this book, is there any memorable experiences that you recollect? I mean, you were talking a little bit about the first impression of your contributors. Is there anything else that you think, oh, this book is worthy because this is what I got?
Well, as a novice writer, I think we all have, something that we sometimes need a little bit of help, a little bit of boost to kind of affirm that we are doing a good job. So one of the things that I did early on was sharing it with my husband because he was and is becoming this first pair of ears to kind of tell me, am I doing the right thing? If you read this, how do you feel? So he has always been there for me. And but for me, just the reaction from all the contributors when I shared with them their stories and the fact that it's moving, it's emotional, but it's also very respectful. It's just a good reward for me.
I see. And related to that, how do you navigate the ethical considerations involved in sharing personal stories? Because me as a mother, when I talk about parenthood, sometimes I don't have a filter.
It's not easy.
But you as a writer, how do you, do that?
Well, for me, I just knew that if I want to produce something meaningful, something that goes through the heart, it has to be done in a certain way, with the right intention, with the right tone. Because dealing with a lot of painful stories that not only involve the mothers themselves, but also the ex-husbands, because a lot of the stories in it involving husbands who are abusive, who are extremely
violent,
cruel.
Oh no.
So I need to be able to convey that in a way that it's not judgmental, because I feel that it's not really my place to point fingers into certain group
Yep.
of people or certain person, but I do it in a way that I trust my readers that they can withdraw something from the stories.
Yes. The message.
And the message, like you will see it differently than
Yeah.
you
Someone
know, other
else.
audience,
Yes.
someone else. But if I do it with the right, from the right place, then I'm sure that the book can also be used as a healing process.
Yeah.
Because once we share the pain, once we are openly talking about what happened, then instead of using it as a blaming place, we can actually use it as a beginning to a healing
Yep.
process.
Right.
So, what advice would you give to writers who aspire to make similar projects? Because you know, your book reminds me a bit of Chicken Soup of the Soul, or the Soul,
Oh, yeah.
when I was a teenager,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
And then it has a you know like series like Parenthood series and you know Love series, right?
Right, yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah, what's your advice?
For me, sorry, I forgot the question.
Oh yeah, what's your advice for aspiring
For
writers?
aspiring writers, yeah,
to make who wants to make a
Yeah.
collection of stories.
Yeah, it's still kind of weird to get that question because this is also my first work. But if I may share my personal experience
Yeah.
Writing this book, I think that the goal should not to publish a book.
Yeah.
For the writers. I know it may sound contradictory because once you set that as a goal, once you do it, then you don't want
It,
to.
it feel different.
Yeah, you feel like,
Yeah.
oh, I've done my
Yeah.
work. This is it. But for me, focus on the infinite game. It means that we should focus on continue sharpening our pencil. That this is truly a journey, and there is, in a way, no ending. This is something that we are passionate about. This is how we process life. This is how we put meaning behind
Yep.
what's going on. And so that is, for me, it's important to do that.
Yep.
And the other thing that I can share with anyone who wants to write their story or publish a book is that you need to make sure that you can understand what is it that you want to do.
Yeah.
Start with having a good idea. Why do you want to write a book to begin with or write a story?
So it goes back to the writer themselves.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Right.
So you don't finish before it is complete.
You have to be.
Yeah, you have to finish it.
Stay true
Yeah.
to what you want to do.
Yeah, yeah. Stay committed.
Stay committed and but also be open in case of you can't in a way seclude yourself from mingling with other
Yeah,
writers.
yeah,
You need to
yeah.
continue feeding your minds
Yep.
and your soul that there are other great writers out there.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, that's amazing.
Yeah.